This is KSL Sunday Edition with Deanie Wimmer.
This week on Sunday Edition, Turning 101, how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is celebrating President Nelson's birthday and a look at his life of service. Plus,
we're really experiencing a digital divide.
Closing the digital divide. What state leaders are doing to make sure high-speed internet is available to every Utah community. But first,
it grows with the children as they learn the program.
Getting Utah's youngest children ready for school. The program that's proving so successful, state lawmakers are funding it for parents who want it. Thousands of preschoolers in Utah have a resource to help them get ready for elementary. And it's so successful, Utah lawmakers funded it so that every family with a preschooler has access for free. It's called the UPSTART program.
Which picture shows the place where you start to read?
Leanne Parkinson is a former teacher in St. George who now uses UPSTART to help her granddaughter.
The way we use it in our home is it gives them a good foundation for learning how to learn at home. So even though she's in a high-quality preschool in the district, it helps her to be able to learn how to practice at home, and it's just for a few minutes a day.
UPSTART is a preschool software program that prepares the youngest learners at home by teaching them the basics in reading, math, and science.
They're excited to learn, but this phonetics and learning how to follow directions in such a fun, engaging way makes such a difference in their development.
We recommend at least 15 minutes in the literacy, and then they can move on to another 15 minutes in the math and the science. It goes right along with our school curriculum, and so what they're learning at school, they're also learning on the UPSTART. And the one thing I really like about UPSTART is each child has an individualized program created just for them. And UPSTART will do an assessment for about the first 2 weeks of when they get started, and then they make a program that is right for that child.
It grows with the children. As they learn, the program gets a little bit harder, and if they don't learn the skill, then they repeat the skill until they do learn it. And they have fun, engaging games, and I've seen my kids go from hardly being able to communicate and speak to knowing all their letters and sounds before they leave preschool. It's an amazing program.
Teachers tell us at the beginning of the year, they don't have to guess which kids have used the program.
I hear from teachers that they can tell a difference in the students who are using UPSTART versus the ones who are not. The ones who use UPSTART are better with their letters, they know how to read, and they just show more confidence.
It sets them up for success in kindergarten. They know their letters, they know their sounds, they're learning to read, they have reading readiness skills, they have all the skills that are needed for their education to set them up for success.
I have families come up to me and tell me, oh my gosh, you're the UPSTART people. Like, my family loves this. There's songs, there's interactive activities and books that the software provides for the kids, and they sing it at lunch, they sing it at dinner, like singing the Zero song or something. And it's just amazing it's amazing for me to see how excited families get about it and how much it helps them too.
Lawmakers have also seen the success and funded UPSTART for any Utah family that wants to use it.
The name of the book.
The idea is parents are their kids' first teachers.
There's no cost to them. The state of Utah has invested in this so that our young learners are ready for school. And in turn, that really does create these strong communities that Utah is known for.
One teacher told us about her experience with a new student who didn't speak English.
I have a little boy that I had last year, and he was an ELL student, which speaks no English at all. And we got visiting with the parents and explained to them the importance of UPSTART. And when he came into my classroom, he knew nothing, not a number, not an alphabet, nothing. And his parents were very dedicated and consistent with UPSTART And when he took his final exam or assessment, he knew 26 uppercase, 20 lowercase, and all of his numbers to 20. So that was with UPSTART's help.
Each family is assigned a mentor to make sure they're getting what they need from the program.
So when they step into kindergarten and they have that foundation, then they'll be able to get so much further.
The state of Utah has a goal to have 70% of children reading at grade level by 2027. And so we know that to reach that goal, we really need to start in those earliest years.
If you or a family member would like to access the UPSTART program, talk with your school or visit waterford.org.
It's a great program, really, to help augment the funds that schools receive.
Utah schools are getting a record amount of funding from a unique source, the state's land grant trust distributions. We're talking about $111 million to help meet the needs of Utah students. This money comes from revenue generated from trust lands that are used for things like grazing, real estate, and mineral extraction. For this school year, the state's largest district, Alpine, received the largest distribution, just over $13 million. Davis District got $10.6 million. Jordan and Granite, nearly $8.8 million. And Nebo rounds out the top five at $6.6 million. How these funds are spent is up to individual school community councils, which are made up of parents and educators. It's one of the few pots of money that schools can actually use for something they want that's needed in their community.
Here at Whittier, they're going to be bringing in specialists to help reading for kindergarten through second grade. So really each school has the opportunity to determine where do they need additional monies. They can supplement that. It might be bringing in extra help from the outside. It might be technology. You know, there's any number of things that they can use the money for.
You can check out to see how your school's using that money. In the last 30 years, the fund's grown from $50 million to $3.7 billion. And as school is back in session, thousands of Utah students lack a basic resource they need to do their schoolwork: high-speed internet. A new report on the digital divide by highspeedinternet.com shows some surprising numbers. 70,000 Utahns don't have access to the internet, and 26,000 Utah households lack a computer. Ogden leads in households without a computer at 5.8%, while Provo has a computer in virtually every home. But on the flip side, Provo School District has the highest share of households without internet, 14.4%. Now that might be because BYU students rely on campus internet. Jordan has the fewest households with no internet, 3.2%. Utah households pay an average of $103 a month for 201 megabytes per second, and that's well above the national average cost. So we talked to the director of Utah Broadband Center, Rebecca Dilge, and learned how the state is making progress to bridge the digital divide.
You know, a lot of us on the Wasatch Front just take high-speed internet for granted. Is there a digital divide in Utah?
Well, there is, and it comes, it's not as expansive as it is in other locations, but there is still a gap. We have some infrastructure gap as well as just access to the internet.
Elaborate on that a little bit. Any anymore internet use is considered kind of an infrastructure, kind of one of those basic services.
Indeed. So it's not considered a utility. It's not regulated by like our utilities are, but there has been great effort, especially in recent years, to make sure everybody has the opportunity to be connected. It's no longer seen as a luxury. It's a necessity. It's a way of life. It's a quality of life.
So the digital divide that exists in Utah, is it mainly because we have such expansive rural areas, or break it down for me? Where are the worst spots and the best spots for high-speed internet?
I think you've hit it right there. Rural areas that are remaining. We're pretty proud of our internet here in Utah. Our providers have done a great job. Many of the rural areas have really great high-speed internet. They have fiber optics there, but it's the very rural or the frontier areas that where the challenge comes in, where there has not been a good return on investment for an internet service provider to build out in these areas. And it's one thing to build out there, but it's another to maintain. We don't always think about that, the ongoing maintenance and costs, as they call truck rolls. If there's an issue and they need to go out, that can be very, very expensive. So there's been a hesitation or not a real opportunity to go after these markets. We have some locations even on the in the urban areas where, for one reason or another, maybe locations were built after internet providers were there, or internet providers came to a location and one met on one side and the other on the other side of a neighborhood, and they didn't overlap. And it just every once in a while we have these donut holes across these urban locations. Well, I'm really pleased to say that we've had the opportunity to provide some incentives to these internet service providers. We are just finishing up a grant program called our Broadband Access Grant that we ran. It was a state grant that we were able to use federal funds and to connect over 3,200 rural households. A number of them across the state. We had 6 communities alone in Box Elder County that got connected. Croydon was one, White Hills area. We've got one that is in progress down in Montezuma Creek, so on the Navajo Nation area. So they're widespread across the state. And now we have another grant program. This is federally funded. It's going across the country. Every state was allocated funds based on the number of unserved locations in our states. So we were allocated a certain amount of funding. We've been going through a process to ensure we're getting the funding to locations that truly need it, that are truly unserved. And so we're looking forward to not only a few, but actually universal service, connecting every last household, or making sure that everyone has at least availability to it through infrastructure.
Likely, when would that happen?
Well, we are hoping to be awarding before the end of this year. And then the internet service providers have up until 4 years to complete this.
What does it mean to communities when they finally get high-speed internet?
Well, for them, it's pretty exciting. I know when we went up to Bear River City and they held a town hall meeting to talk about this, and it was a full house. It's really on the radar. It was very interesting to see how many people turned out in these small communities, and we're pretty excited about it. As you said, it's really important for the school children. It's important for employment. It's essential. It's very helpful in our telehealth. There's so many aspects to the internet, whether it's public records or anything that we access on a day-to-day basis. If we don't have access to it, we're really experiencing a digital divide.